Jeff Gordon may be in the lead, but he's not coasting along anymore. Welcome to the BF Goodrich NASCAR Report. I'm Amber Wilson for CBS SportsLine. At Friday's inspection for the Save Mart 350 in Sonoma, officials discovered a 10-inch piece of front fender on a pair of Hendrick cars. The illegally modified COTs belonged to Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson. NASCAR parked the 24 and 48 cars during practice time and forced the two drivers to start at the back of the field. But the real penalties came down Tuesday when crew chiefs Steve Letarte and Chad Knaus were suspended for 6 races, and both drivers were penalized 100 points. Jeff Gordon remains at the top of the point standings, but he's not sitting quite as pretty as he once was. The penalty shrinks his lead to just 171. The ruling really took a hit on the 48 car. Jimmy Johnson is now at 5th after dropping 2 spots, benefiting Matt Kenseth and Jeff Burton. And it's safe to say the news from the Hendrick camp this past weekend stole some of the thunder from an international racing star. Juan Pablo Montoya has plenty of racing accolades, including an Indianapolis 500 win. Now he can add another victory to his resume as the rookie NASCAR driver took his first Nextel Cup checkered flag in the Save Mart 350 out in Sonoma. The 42 car's crew chief, Donnie Wingo, took a gamble on fuel while other teams were not so lucky. Robbie Gordon and Jamie McMurray led for 78 of the 110 laps at Infineon. After being passed by Juan Pablo Montoya for the lead with 6 laps to go, McMurray had to pit for fuel and ended up 37th, while Gordon had to pit at lap 76 and would later vent about his car's fuel mileage. Carl Edwards finished 18th after being as high as 4th with just 2 laps to go, and Bobby Labonte and Kyle Petty ran out of gas before they could reach pit road. With the front row starters fizzling at the end, Kevin Harvick creeped up into second place on Infineon's winding road course, with 2 other Chevys joining him in the top 5 as Jeff Burton and Clint Boyer came on strong. Greg Biffle drove his Aflac Ford to 5th place, posting his second career top 5 finish. The chase for the Nextel Cup will begin at New Hampshire's International Speedway in September, so all eyes will be on this weekend's Lennox Industrial Tools 300, as it could be a preview of what's to come in the fall. The track at Loudon is home to a couple repeat winners in recent years, with Jimmy Johnson in 2003 and Kurt Busch in 2004. Kurt's brother Kyle finished last year's Lennox's Industrial Tools 300 in exciting fashion with a green-white checkered flag finish. And fellow Chevy driver Kevin Harvick won the Sylvania 300 last September at Loudon. And we welcome in our NASCAR expert, Pete Pistone, to the program. And Pete, as you know, NASCAR handed down penalties to Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson this week due to their cars failing inspection. Do you feel that these rulings were fair?
Well, Amber, I guess the penalties were consistent, at least, considering NASCAR fined Dale Earnhardt Jr. 100 points, $100,000, and suspended his crew chief, Tony Eury Jr., for 6 races back in May in Darlington when they found an illegal rear wing on their car of tomorrow. But to me, if NASCAR really intends to lay down the law, as CEO Brian France told us last week, the only way they're going to get the attention of these teams is by parking a car for a weekend. Chad Knaus is also a repeat offender, many-time offender. I mean, he was suspended 6 races last year at the Daytona 500, you'll remember, and Jimmy Johnson didn't miss a beat. So this is not going to affect either Gordon or Johnson. 100 points, they're so far ahead of the point standings. The money means nothing, and even losing the crew chief. But if you park that car, that's going to get the sponsors' attention, that's going to get the team's attention, and to me, that's the only way that this stuff's going to stop.
Okay, and former Indy 500 winner Juan Pablo Montoya notched his first career Nextel Cup victory. Does Montoya's win have an impact on NASCAR's appeal worldwide, Pete?
Well, I think Juan Pablo's win will definitely help NASCAR's quest to become more exposed around the world. I mean, Montoya is an icon in his native Colombia, so I think he certainly has a lot of South America after him this year, following his every move in NASCAR, more Latin fans, more Hispanic fans, and that's what NASCAR wants. And I mean, it was a big win, and if he continues to be successful, I think it will only help NASCAR's a goal to become worldwide.
Okay, and Dale Jr. snuck back into the news again this week. What's the status on the number 8, Pete?
Well, the 8's going to stay with DEI for now. There was some talk earlier this week that Teresa Earnhardt was going to sell the number to Rick Hendrick, so Junior has that car number when he joins Hendrick Motorsports next year. It's not that easy. The numbers are not owned by the teams. They're actually owned by NASCAR. They assign those numbers. So there's still maybe a deal worked out, but right now there's nothing to it. And Junior has snuck into the top 12 in the point standings, and he's got a chance to make the chase and maybe win a championship, even though he's a lame duck driver, I guess, for DEI. He certainly has a shot to win the title this year.
Okay, and the Nextel Cup is in New Hampshire for the Lennox Industrial Tools 300 this weekend. Who's going to be in victory lane?
Well, New Hampshire's a flat, 1-mile racetrack, and it's going to be a Car of Tomorrow race. First time we've had the COT at New Hampshire. We've had the Car of Tomorrow on a mile track out in Phoenix earlier in the spring, but that's a much faster racetrack than New Hampshire is. So handling is going to be a key there. Last year we saw Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick win. I think Kyle Busch, again, who was a lame duck with Hendrick, I think he's going to be in the mix this week. I also, again, look for Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon. They have won there before. But Kurt Busch is someone that's got my attention lately. Penske Racing has won at New Hampshire in the past with Rusty Wallace, and I think that maybe Kurt Busch can finally roll into victory lane this year up in New England.
Okay, thanks as always, Pete. We look forward to hearing from you this weekend from Loudon. And of course, don't forget to come back next week. We'll take a look at the Pepsi 400. But for now, if you missed anything here today, stop, refresh, and rewatch for the BF Goodrich NASCAR Report. I'm Amber Wilson.